Hi, this time I want to talk about why so many horror tabletop RPG sessions fail. Every now and then, usually around October, you see so many videos supposedly giving you tips and advice on how to properly play a horror tabletop RPG session. And it's quite obvious that the people that are supposedly sharing those tips and advice, they are struggling. They don't understand why tabletop RPGs, when it comes to horror, they sometimes fail. But the answer is quite simple. You don't need anything related to the lighting, the atmosphere, the props that you use, a particular tone. Although that could help, that could support the horror ambience, but it is actually quite simple. You need to roleplay. In order for a horror RPG session to be scary, you need to roleplay. However, there is a very important consideration. At the beginning of this video, you may have seen a link on screen. It takes you to the stream with Shoner when I talk about horror in general in role-playing games. A very important point. The stream doesn't just feature horror, we talk about other things, but there is a part of that video where I mention that you should always speak in first person. When you are role playing your character, always speak in first person. I move through the dark corridors. I have my oil lantern in my left hand and my flintlock in my right hand. I keep on walking, pointing my gun at anything that moves. Because whenever you describe your actions in first person, you are as close as you can get to your character. Oftentimes, in tabletop role-playing games, when you actually role-play, you get to describe your character's actions in first person or in third person. I think that's fine. When it comes to my personal take on things, I think that is fine. But when it comes to horror role-playing games, horror adventures, scenarios, modules, you need to speak in first person in order to really feel the horror. Otherwise, you feel a bit distant from your character. It's not the same thing. My character Bob moves carefully through the corridor. He has his torch. He has his saber. He starts walking and is ready to turn around the right corner. You feel like there is a distance. But when you are saying the same thing, I move through the dark corridor with my torch on my left hand, my saber on my right. I am ready to turn the right corner. You are getting really into it. You are so pulled into it. That is the maximum immersion in horror, in my opinion. Even if you are playing as several player characters, maybe you have Robert, William, and Maria. You could say something like, as Robert, I am moving through the dark corridor with Maria and William following me. Or maybe you want to go up the stairs and you want to be in the shoes, in the perception of another character. Robert takes the lead along with William. As Maria, I am following them, looking behind us every now and then with my candle. That is a topic for another video. How to properly play with several characters as a single player. That is a single player, even if you are playing with a group, several characters per player. But when it comes to horror RPG sessions, the reason why so many people struggle with them, they don't achieve that horror, that dread, those scares, is because they do not roleplay at all. And remember, if you don't know, well, a lot of you already know this, but if someone is new to the channel, there is a link in the description taking you to my beginner's guide to roleplay. But even if you roleplay in a horror session, make absolutely sure, if you want to achieve that horror, make absolutely sure that you are describing things in first person so that you are really within the character. I would consider it mandatory. When we complete the Reminisce Super Smash Bros. Campaign and the Dark and Terrible campaign, I am going to start a horror-themed Dungeons and Dragons campaign, 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons online. And I am going to set it as a requirement that you should always describe your actions in first person. Well, thank you for watching this video. I hope it was informative and entertaining. If you have any other comments or questions about these horror-related situations, let me know about your own experiences. Have you achieved this horror in tabletop RPGs? If you haven't tried using first person, definitely do so. Definitely do so. So once again, thank you. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you to everyone who is further supporting the channel. The information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.